everyone, I'm back with another video. Today I wanted to do a part 2 on what it's like living with a hoarder. So this is part 2 to the hoarding video that I made. This is going to be about my mom's animal hoarding. As you all know, like I mentioned in the first video, my mom owned a grooming business, so it was a shared business between her and my dad, and it was a very successful business up until she got sick, and she worked up until she landed up in the hospital. So she worked until she could not work no more. So even after, you know, she went in, did her treatments and everything, she was still insistent on going back to work afterwards and continue working. That was just my mom. She was very driven. She was all in and all about her work and her work ethic and so forth. But she was just too sick, and she never made it back to work. So, you know, with my parents owning a grooming business, we had a lot of animals. We babysat a lot of animals for her customers, and you know, when they go on vacations, we would watch their animals for them. Kins, you know, people who have kins would bring the kins to the business, and we would put a free kins sign on the cage, and people would come in and pick up the kins. And that happened all the time. People always bring in kins, and we'd give them away. Also, we had animals both at her business and at the house. So the animals that we had at the shop, we owned a ferret, we owned a guinea pig, we owned a hamster, and 2 cats. They were both sisters, and yeah, so we had those animals there at the shop, and whatever kins that was brought in to give to a free home, you know. And then our house, we had 10 dogs. Half of them were rescues from clients that, you know, abused their animals. My mom would rescue them and adopt them and keep them for her own. And instead of, you know, my mom was a very loving and caring and compassionate person when it came to animals, and she would always give her customers the benefit of the doubt. If they came in full of ticks and fleas, she'd give them treatments or whatever. But if it was to the extreme to where the dog, you know, became anemic and the skin was pale, the gums were white, so forth, the eyes were had no color, then she would adopt them out, and she would either give them to, you know, a new home, or she would keep it for herself. So some clients she did that for, and she said, hey, look, you know, your dog is in terrible condition, your animal is very sick, I can take the dog and I can take care of it, and I can give it a good home, or I can call animal control. Those are your 2 choices. So she always gave the customers an option. What do you want to do? These are your 2 options. And most of them said, take them, take care of my baby, and that's why we had so many dogs. We had two cats. One was from a client that she had, and he had a litter of kittens, and my mom took one of the kittens from his litter that he had. So that was the first cat that we had. That was a male cat. And then I had a female cat that I adopted that was laying out in front of the yard, and it just kept coming by, and I would sneak it food. I would sneak it, treats and cat food, and it wouldn't go away. And I begged my parents to let me keep this female cat, and they let me keep her. And I had to take care of it, I think I was in middle school. I had to take care of this cat on my own. I had a litter box, I had toys, I had to take care of it, and I loved it, but she had her issues when it came to like being very needy and very attached to me. Everywhere I went, she was like glued to me. Like I couldn't go anywhere without her being right next to me. If I went to the bathroom, went and took a shower, she had to go with me, and she had to lay in there with me. If I went to eat, she laid on the chair next to me while I was eating. If I even walked down to the living room and I was sitting on the couch, she was underneath the coffee table waiting for me. She always had to be by my side. She was very affectionate, very loving, very a very needy type of cat. And up until I started going to school, when it came to the weekdays when I had to go to school, the cat started becoming very rebellious, started peeing on my bed. At first it would just be every once in a while. If I would leave to go to school, I'd come back, she'd pee on my bed. She would, sometimes I would lock her out of the room because, she would be following me everywhere, and I was just very, nonchalant, like wasn't paying attention. I would always lock her out of the room, and when I would lock her out of the room, she would pee on my bed. So she became a really like rebellious cat. And when I was in high school, I think I was in high school, I think I was 18, I was in my senior year, and this old woman came by my mom's shop and said that her female cat had just passed away from old age, and she was really needing a cat, and she wanted a cat to take care of, and I gave her my cat. I gave her, my cat, so she could take care of, and she really appreciated that, and that made me feel good, because it made me feel good to know that the cat can have 24-hour care, attention, affection, everything that the cat was craving that I wasn't able to give my all, my full attention. This old lady, was really, really like, she was so happy, she was in tears. She's like, thank you so much. My baby just passed away, and you just made me so happy. And that made me feel good, because I knew my cat was going to be taken care of, and she was going to love it and give it the affection and the love that my cat really, really needed. And, that made me feel good. We had 10 dogs. We had, half of them were rescues, half of them we bought. And we had lizards, we had an iguana, we had 2 leopard geckos, and a bearded dragon. We had 2 snakes. We had an albino snake and we had a ball python. Um, we had 2 rats. Now, the first rat that we bought in the pet store. Now, the second rat that we had was actually a feeding rat for the snake, but the snake, it was a female snake, and I think the female snake was in that time where she wanted to be bred, and she became very aggressive. She didn't want to be touched. She started hissing, and she started to snap at us every time we would reach in the cage, and we're like, we gotta get rid of the snake. We got to take it back to the pet store so the snake can get what it's needed. So we gave it back to the pet store we bought it from, and we kept the rat that the snake did not want to eat, because the snake, we left the rat in there for it had to be over a week, and every time we would look in the cage, the rat would still be running around the cage, and we're like, why isn't this snake eating? And when we called the manager at the pet store, he said that she was in need of wanting to be bred, and when they're in when they're in that when they're feeling that way, they don't eat. So we gave the ball python back to the pet store, and we kept the rat, and we had 2 rats, and that one became very sweet, very affectionate. It would both rats would give each other kisses. It was just a whole thing. And both rats, one was a pet rat, one was a feeding rat, and they both became very affectionate towards each other. And I think they were both females. I don't know. One was a female. Our pet rat was a female, but the other one, I wasn't too sure if it was a male or a female, but they bonded very, well, and they loved each other. So we had 2 rats. We had 2 birds. We had a cockatoo and a parakeet. And then what else? So the type of dogs that we had a chow. We had 2 chihuahuas. No, we had 3 chihuahuas. We had 3 of them. We had a long hair and 2 short haired. One was a mother, and we kept 1 baby out of her litter. So, and then we had a shepherd. We had 3 Dobermans. We had 3 Dobermans. 2 females and 4 Dobermans. Chanel, Benicia, Escada, and Sierra. I still remember the names. And my mom, she had a thing where she named, because she had an obsession with perfume. So she named all animals after perfume, her favorite perfume. And of course, her handbags. So we had an animal called Versace. And it was just, I don't know, Chanel. Just, so her, we had animals named after handbags and perfume, because that was her 2 loves. And we had poodles. We had a teacup poodle, and we had a regular little poodle. We had what else? We had a Bichon. That one was really sweet. He was blind. He was a rescue. This woman found him on the side of the road. He was hit by a car, and she took him to the vet. She stitched him up, and she brought him to the business, and my mom ended up keeping him and taking him in. And then we had a little terrier mix, and we kept him, and he was a rescue. He was running the streets, and someone brought him in, and we kept him too. He was running the streets around the business, so he was like in traffic, running through traffic, and someone pulled over and brought him to us. We always had kittens coming in. We fostered all 4 litters of the kittens that someone had found in an apartment complex in a box. They left it by the dumpster in the apartment complex, and this woman brought it to us. We fostered them. We took care of them. They were they were like newborn kittens. We fed them, and when they got big enough, we fostered 2 of them. I gave one to my ex, and we gave one to my mom's friend, and the other 2 were clients that came in and was needing a kin. We gave the other 2 away. There was 4 kins. I think that's all the animals that we had, I believe. I think that was all of them. Yeah, we had a lot of animals. My mom was definitely an animal hoarder. She loved her animals. And, I loved, helping her take care of them, and, because I had my way of, like, organizing and making sure everything was nice and neat, and, yeah. I still remember to this day, if I could find pictures, I would show you. We literally had a walkway from the living room door to the hallway to the kitchen. It was like a little walkway, and there was just fish tanks. Oh, we had a fish tank too in the living room. We had a 55-gallon fish tank in the living room with guppies and goldfish and allergy feeder. We had a couple crabs in there as well. Some other fish, some rainbow fish we had in there. It was freshwater fish. So yeah, we had a 55-gallon tank. I think my dad was the one that wanted the 55-gallon tank. I think that's what he wanted, and he made the stands for the fish tanks. So we had 2 stands. He made them out of aluminum. You've seen in that video. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all the animals. Like I said, we had a lot. She loved her animals, and yeah. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, comment, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.